Welcome to Sports Love Media on YouTube. It's your main guy, Sports Love, with today's video. Today, I have found that college basketball season has just gotten really good and started, and I have found a list of 50 colleges that have a college basketball program that has their win percentage and the 50 best college basketball teams throughout all history, from the time they start until the very end of basketball season for last season, which would be the 2022-2023 school year. So I'm going to go over that real quick. Number one is Kentucky. Their first season was in 1903. They have 2,377 wins, 749 losses, one tie, and a win percentage of 76%. Number two, Kansas. Their first season was 1898. They've won 2,370 games, lost 900, tied 0, and has a win percentage of 72.3%. Number three, North Carolina. Their first season was 1910. They have 2,343 wins, 852 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 73.3%. Number four, Duke. First season, 1906. They have 2,273 wins, 920 losses, 0 ties, and a win percentage of 71.2%. Number 5, UCLA. Their first season was 1920. They have won 1,986 games. They've lost 888 games, and they have a win percentage of 69.1% with no ties. Next is Temple. Their first season was 1895. They have 1,977 wins, 1,137 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 63.5%. Next is Syracuse. They first started in 1901. They have 1,973 wins, 964 losses, 0 ties, and a win percentage of 67.2%. Next is Notre Dame. Their first season in basketball for men's basketball Division I was 1898. They have 1,950 wins, 1,089 losses, 2 ties, and a win percentage of 64.2%. Next is St. John's. Their first season was 1908. They have 1,922 wins, 1,085 losses, 0 ties, and a win percentage of 63.9%. Next is Indiana. They were established as a basketball program in 1901. They have won 1,913 times. They've lost 1,102 times, 0 ties, and they have a win percentage of 63.4%. Next is Purdue. Their first season in basketball was 1897. They have 1,895 wins, 1,075 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 63.8%. Next, you have Cincinnati, their first season was in 1902. They have 1,889 losses, 1,064 losses, and a win percentage of 64%. Next, you have is Texas. Their first season was in 1906. They have 1,879 wins, 1,125 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 62.5%. Next, you have Illinois, who was established as a basketball program in 1906. They have won 1,878 times, they've lost 1,052 times, and they have no ties. They have a win percentage of 64.1%. Let's see, next on the list is Utah. Utah first season was 1909. They have 1,875 wins, 1,067 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 63.7%. Next on the list is Western Kentucky. Their first year as a basketball program was 1915. They have 1,872 wins, 973 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 65.8%. Next will be BYU. Their first year in basketball was 1903. They have 1,869 wins, 1,134 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 62.2%. Next is Villanova. Their first year in basketball was 1921. They have 1,864 wins, 973 losses, and a win percentage of 65.7%. No ties. Next you have is the University of Arizona. Their first year in basketball was 1905. They have 1,862 wins, 977 losses, one tie, and a win percentage of 65.6%. Next on the list is West Virginia. Their first year of basketball was 1904. They have 1,846 wins, 1,152 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 61.6%. Next is Washington. Their first year of basketball was in 1896. They have 1,843 wins, 1,255 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 59.5%. Next is Penn. I think that would be the University of Pennsylvania. That's not Penn State, so don't get them confused. But anyway, their basketball program was established in 1897. They have 1,836 wins, 1,151 losses, two ties, and a win percentage of 61.5%. Next is Michigan State. They were established as a basketball program in 1899. They have 1,811 wins, 1,141 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 61.3%. Next is, Michigan State. They were established in 1899. They have 1,811 wins, 1,141 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 61.3%. Princeton is next, and they were established as a basketball program in 1901. With 1,806 wins, 1,120 losses, no ties, they have a win percentage of 61.7%. Next is UConn, or what they would say the University of Connecticut. Established in 1901 as a basketball program, they have won 1,799 times, lost 1,012 times, no ties, and have a win percentage of 64%. Next is Oregon State. They established as a basketball program in 1902. They have 1,797 wins, 1,417 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 55.9%. Next is NC State, or North Carolina State. They were established as a basketball program in 1913. They have 1,790 wins, 1,121 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 61.5%. Next is Gonzaga. Gonzaga was established as a basketball program in 1908. They have won 1,789 times. They've lost 1,111 times, no ties, and a win percentage of 61.7%. Arkansas first established basketball in 1924. They have 1,783 wins, 997 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 64.1%. Next is Louisville. They were established as a basketball program in 1912. They have 1,776 wins, 987 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 64.3%. Next, you have Ohio State, who established as a basketball program in 1899. They have won 1,768 times, lost 1,134 times, no ties, and has a win percentage of 60.9%. Next, you have the University of Alabama. They have been around for a while, but they established their basketball program in 1913. Since then, they have won 1,767 times, lost 1,087 times, one tie, and a win percentage of 61.9%. Next, you have Oklahoma, who established as a basketball program in 1908. They have 1,756 wins, 1,137 losses, 0 ties, and a win percentage of 60.7%. Next you have is, Oregon. They established their basketball program for the men in 1903. They have 1,754 wins, 1,407 losses, 0 ties, and a win percentage of 55.5%. Next is Bradley. They were established as a basketball program in 1903. They have 1,746 wins, 1,253 losses, 0 ties, and a win percentage of 58.2%. Missouri State established their basketball program in 1909. They have 1,743 wins, 1,041 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 62.6%. The University of Tennessee established their basketball program in 1909. They have 1,743 wins, 1,094 losses, 2 ties, and a win percentage of 61.4%. Iowa, the University of Iowa established their basketball program in 1902. They have won 1,739 times, lost 1,202 times, 0 ties, and has a win percentage of 59.1%. Oklahoma State established their basketball program in 1908. Since then, they have 1,736 wins, 1,229 losses, no ties, and a win-loss percentage of 58.5%. Next you have is Dayton, I believe. 1904 is when it established its basketball program. Since then, they have won 1,734 times. They've lost 1,153 times. No ties, and they have a win percentage of 60.1%. Murray State established their basketball program in 1926. Believe they're the only team on this list that has not played a full 100 years yet. But in the meantime, they have 1,724 wins, 934 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 64.9%. Kansas State, 1903 is when they established their basketball program. They have 1,721 wins, 1,223 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 58.5%. Next you have is the University of Virginia. They established their basketball program for the men in 1906. They have 1,719 wins, 1,204 losses, 1 tie, and a win percentage of 58.8%. Georgetown established their basketball program in 1907. They have 1,713 wins, 1,133 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 60.2%. Next you have Marquette. 1917 they established their school as a basketball school, and since then they have won 1,713 times, lost 1,052 times, and has a win percentage of 62%. Next is USC, or the University of Southern California. They were established for basketball in 1907. Since then, they have 1,698 wins, 1,243 losses, 2 ties, and a win-loss percentage. The win percentage of 57.7%. Next, you have the University of Akron, established basketball in 1902. They have 1,693 wins, 1,068 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 61.3%. Next, you have the University of Wisconsin, who established basketball in 1898. They have 1,683 wins, 1,275 losses, 0 ties, and a win percentage of 56.9%. Then you have St. Joseph, who established their basketball program in 1909, and since then has won 1,681 times, lost 1,204 times, no ties, and has a 58.3% win percentage. Finally, in the top 50 for these schools, you have Illinois State, who established themselves as a basketball program in 1899. They have 1,679 wins, 1,257 losses, no ties, and a win percentage of 57.2%. I know that was a lot of information to have to digest and stuff, but those are the 50 best colleges in the United States based off their win-loss record and their win percentage. I hope that you will please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the notification bell so you can be made aware of when I make these videos, when I have live sports action videos, or when I'm broadcasting live on YouTube. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great day. Have a good afternoon.